Hello, welcome back to the breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out for the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a very big lineup of news to brief you all on today. So today's date is June 11, 2025, and it's Wednesday. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We've got a lot of news to cover in today's update, and very big news out of Russia is last night Ukraine launched another drone attack targeting multiple military sites. We had direct hits on a gunpowder plant again, two times that we had gunpowder plants being attacked in the last week. Let's start off with this story on your screen. Ukraine strikes another gunpowder plant in Tambov Oblast with drones. A major Russian gunpowder factory in the city of Kotovsk, Tambov region, was struck by drones overnight, triggering explosions and a fire, according to Andriy Kovalenko, the head of Ukraine's CCD. That's their Center for Countering Disinformation out of Ukraine. So this is video footage coming out from the city of Kotovsk as we see a major fire over there and looks like secondary detonations of this gunpowder plant. And we had direct hits on that site. I've actually got video footage I can show you guys today of these drones directly smashing into this facility and striking one of the buildings over there. It's actually a pretty big facility. They've got numerous buildings and they're consistently constructing new ones over there, and it looks like we had a direct hit on one of them, and we'll talk about that more in just a minute. We also have reports of an ammunition depot that was hit up in the Kursk region, and I have a video coming out from Marino, which is a city in the Kursk Oblast, and reportedly we had a strike over there with a drone, and it could be that same video linking to the information of this ammo depot that has been destroyed in the Kursk region, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll show you guys all that info anyway. Also, an airfield being targeted in the Voronezh region. That's just a little bit east of Ukraine in Russian territory. So we'll talk about all these strikes. We even have reports that Ukraine was attacked again last night by drones. Now, nothing near what we've been seeing over the last few days. We've been seeing 200-300 drones a night. Last night was somewhere around 89 drones, but a good majority of them made it into Ukraine, striking residential buildings again, just like we saw yesterday with Kiev, Kharkiv, and Odessa. Same kind of situation today, but mainly reports coming out of Kharkiv and Odessa today with major strikes from drones from the Russians. So let's go ahead and jump into this, guys. Lots of news to cover. Let's hop on over here to X with Max25. AFU struck a number of important objects in Russia, according to Ukraine's general staff. Tambov gunpowder plant. It produces gunpowder for various types of small arms, artillery, and rocket systems, as well as coloxylin, if I'm saying that right, which is used in the creation of various explosives. Ammunition depot of the 106th Airborne Division in the Kursk region, and the, I'm going to struggle to pronounce this, but I think it's Buturlinovka airfield in the Voronezh region. Now, I don't think I've ever reported this airfield being attacked, but apparently we had another airfield attacked in the Voronezh region. Now, these two reports right here, this ammo depot and the airfield being attacked, unfortunately, I don't have any video footage to confirm these strikes, but again, we do have a video out of the Kursk region last night that reportedly it was like a Russian deployment center that was being hit, but in the video, when I show you guys, it almost kind of looks like there was some sort of secondary detonation. You're going to see like kind of like explosives going all over the place after this hit in the Kursk region, so it's possible it could be that ammo depot and maybe this information is getting mixed up. But nonetheless, a strike up in the Kursk Oblast just last night. We'll go over that here in just a minute. So let's move on to Astra. Ukrainian drones attacked Tambov gunpowder plant in Kotovsk. Fire breaks out, according to locals. Two red and white smokestacks seen in video footage confirmed the location near the plant, as they have appeared in multiple local media photos of the site. Meanwhile, the governor of Tambov region confirmed the drone attack and resulting fire in Kotovsk. The plant was previously targeted overnight on May 29th. Astra reported at the time that a fire broke out on the roof of a warehouse building with no injuries. The facility was also attacked in January this year, as well as July 2024 and November 2023. So yeah, this place has been attacked numerous times over the last couple of years, at least 3 or 4 times. And it says here the Tambov gunpowder plant specializes in the production of explosives. It is one of Russia's largest manufacturers of gunpowder for small arms and artillery munitions, according to Kommersant. The plant produces over 200 types of products, including nitrocellulose, gunpowder for firearms, hand grenades, grenade launcher rounds, and artillery and mortar shells. This facility is part of the state corporation Rostec. Okay, so you can see clearly directly connected, to Russia's military. Got a couple of videos I can show you guys here, the fire that broke out on this site after it was hit. So let's jump into this first one here. All right, so in this video, we can see a massive fire just coming over the top of this tree here. You see it kind of like grows bright red, and then it dies down for a minute, and then it comes back. And we can hear also secondary explosions coming from that facility, probably all that gunpowder and all these chemicals in there detonating. We've got another video coming up next.
Завод, блядь, горит.
Нет, не может завод.
Завод. Ебать, ты глянь, что там.
Нам пиздец.
All right, so we can see a lot of secondary detonations going on here, constantly glowing red, and then it dies down and comes back again, just like we saw from those that other video there just a moment ago. So it looks like we had a direct hit on this facility and a destruction of at least one building at this plant producing gunpowder. Okay, so we've got one more image here coming up. This is supposed to show, like on Google, I'm assuming, kind of showing these smokestacks here that are located at this facility, indicating that we had a direct strike here. I've also got other information with maps we can show you guys of where this strike took place. So now let's move on to Max 25. This morning, Ukrainian UAVs attacked the Tambov gunpowder plant. After analyzing the footage of objective control, we can assume the place of the strike, according to Dnipro Ozint. The enterprise is very important for the Russian army. Since the beginning of the war, it began to expand and modernize its production facilities. As evidenced by satellite images, we have marked the new buildings in green. In red, we have marked the area of damage by the drone with subsequent detonation, which already indicates the success of the strike. Okay, so here's kind of a map showing the area that we have that directly was struck by Ukrainian drones right here in the middle of this complex. And I think it's kind of like a circular complex you can kind of see here with all kinds of different buildings. And these kind of green shaded areas indicate new buildings that have been constructed on this site. And this is a major site producing gunpowder for Russia's military. So right where we had this strike was right in here. And when I zoom in on Google Maps, I'll kind of show you guys some of the buildings that might have been hit in this area. So here we'll hop on over to this map now, and I'll show you guys exactly where this strike took place. So here's Ukraine right here. We're going to zoom into Russia's Tambov region, just a little bit southeast of Moscow, 2 regions over. And in the center of the Tambov region, we have the city of Kotov. You can see it's not too far away from the major city of Tambov. We'll zoom in kind of to the central side of Kotovsk. You can see this kind of circular shape facility with all these roads kind of going around it. So we're going to zoom in here. And the strike allegedly was right here in the center. So I'm wondering if it's this building right here that was hit. We definitely had one of these buildings right in this area being hit. There's a lot of different smaller buildings here as well. And the Russians apparently are constructing a lot of new ones. I think these right here might have been taken out, and they've got some longer facilities that have been built, kind of similar to these here next door. But somewhere right in this area is where we had this direct strike at, okay? So you can see a pretty massive facility here. Lots of different buildings being used to construct gunpowder for the Russian military. So again, right in the city of Kotovsk, central portion of the Tambov Oblast. I'd say probably about maybe 200 or so kilometers away from the border of Ukraine, not too far away. And Tambov region has been getting attacked a lot from Ukrainian drones. So now let's move on to Max 25, the moment of UAV strike on Tambov powder plant. Yeah, you're going to see this drone right here, if you can see it right in the middle of the screen, heading for that facility and slamming right into it and exploding. Take a look at this, pretty crazy.
Все, падает. Все, падает.
All right, so we can hear a lot of small arms fire just prior to that drone smashing into the facility over here. You can see a direct hit, huge blast there, lots of fire coming from there also. And most likely that was the first hit. Now, we could have had multiple hits on this facility because a pretty massive fire over here, but otherwise was most likely the secondary detonations coming from the gunpowder and the chemicals that are stored there at that plant. So now from Ozen Technical, Ukrainian attack drones reportedly struck Russia's Tambov gunpowder plant in Kotovsk moments ago. Multiple secondary explosions can be seen arising from the Russian munitions production facility. Here's one more video, guys, 19 seconds.
Склад боеприпасов горит. Боеприпасы взрываются. Видите, они вот просто вспышками. Это пиздец.
All right, so pretty good angle we got here. Looks like somebody's high up in a window or something recording the detonation of this gunpowder facility over here. And again, it looks like we had a direct hit with all those secondary explosions going off repeatedly, obviously indicating that we have a hit here on this gunpowder plant. So now let's move on to Visioner. Last night, Ukrainian forces carried out a kamikaze drone strike on a temporary deployment base of Russian airborne forces near the village of Marino in the Kursk region. Okay, so this is that video I was telling you guys about. Lots of reports today on X indicating this is a deployment center for Russia's airborne forces that was hit with a Ukrainian drone last night. But you'll notice that right when this drone hits, you'll see some kind of some flashes, balls of light exploding, possibly indicating that it was a secondary explosion. Maybe it was the ammunition depot over here being hit, or maybe we had both being struck at the same time. But otherwise, we had a deployment center reportedly being attacked over here last night. Take a look at this. All right, so pretty massive hit over here. So look, right when we see the explosion, see these kind of balls of light flying everywhere. That's something typically that we see whenever an ammunition depot gets hit. Now, there's no like other secondary detonations after that. This video is obviously not very long. Maybe it continued to detonate soon after. We don't know. But otherwise, looks like we had a massive hit here. Something else exploded when this drone hit. Or maybe that's just the drone fragments going everywhere. You guys can let me know what you think about that. Now, for more translated Russian public channels report an explosion in Angle as a large column of smoke can be seen. According to some Telegram channels, the explosion occurred at the 9th Central Automobile Repair Plant, which is located less than 2 kilometers from the Kristall Oil Depot. The depot was attacked by drones during the night of June 5th to the 6th and is still burning. So we had some sort of explosion taking place also over here inside of the city of Engels, okay? And this is a city that was attacked just a few nights ago from Ukrainian drones, and we had the Kristall Oil Depot being attacked once again. That's like 2 times in the last 6 months or so that Ukraine went after it, and we had it consistently burning all the way up until now for the last 5 days or so. So these are pictures coming out showing another explosion that took place nearby. So I'm assuming one of these could be the oil depot, and one of them is also this reported automobile repair plant. Now, I'm not sure if that's exactly what exploded, but many of the residents over here were complaining that there was some sort of weird explosion that took place, and I'm not sure if there's any drones entering over here in Angles. Maybe there was, but I haven't heard any reports or confirmed reports of drones entering this area. But otherwise, some sort of mysterious explosion took place, and at the same time, the Kristall Oil Depot that was hit just about 5 or 6 days ago is still consistently burning at this time. The Russians have not been able to put it out. Now, for Ozen Technical, Zaporizhzhia Oblast, a large Russian ammunition depot suffers a catastrophic detonation after Ukrainian strikes. We've got a video here to show you guys as well. Ukraine carried out some sort of attack over here. Looks like we had a detonation of an ammunition depot down in the south also. And Ukraine's general staff hasn't confirmed this one yet, but this is video footage coming out from that area down in southern Ukraine. Ukraine carried out some sort of attack, destroying a pretty large ammo dump. I mean, look at that explosion, pretty huge. This is video footage most likely coming from a drone. And there was some maps here indicating where this strike took place at. Looks like the northeastern side of the Zaporizhzhia Oblast. This would be in controlled Russian territory. You can see not too far away from Mariupol also. So yeah, we had some sort of strike taking place over here as well. Now, from NOAA reports, Ukrainian aviation struck a Russian facility used to house a large number of forces. The building also served as a hub for storing high value electronic systems, including EW, which is electronic warfare, and SIGINT equipment, now destroyed. Lately, Ukrainian aviation has become more and more active. And yes, I'd have to agree with that. We've been seeing lots of videos coming out like this, especially from Tyatkino, which is a city in the Kursk Oblast. Ukraine's Air Force has been carrying out lots of airstrikes over there using these GBU 39 glide bombs and destroying lots of targets, especially in Tyatkino. And I'm not sure exactly where this strike took place, but we can see complete destruction to this building after it was leveled to the ground from Ukraine's Air Force. So they've been carrying out a lot of strikes lately. Now, from Anton Gerashenko, Russia launched yet another drone attack on Ukraine last night. Kharkiv in the Slobitsky and Osno-Viansky districts of the city. There were direct strikes on high-rise buildings, playgrounds, businesses, and public transport. 2 people were killed and 60 were injured, including 9 children. SESU reported Zaporizhzhia region. 2 people were injured as a result of an FPV drone attack on Malo Katerinivka. According to the head of the regional military administration, the Russians attacked a civilian vehicle in the village, Kherson region, or the city of Kherson, excuse me. Russian troops attacked the Korabelny district of the city twice this morning. 2 women were injured and hospitalized, according to the city military administration. Odessa region, summer houses, farm buildings, cars, and civilian boats were destroyed or damaged, according to SESU. Sumy region, after a Russian drone struck the Lebedin community, a non-residential building where agricultural equipment was stored caught fire, SESU reported. These were pictures coming out from Ukraine. I think some of these were actually from Odessa, these images that we're seeing here. But yeah, a lot of drones crashing into Ukraine last night, destroying more civilian infrastructure. Once again, it looks like we had a warehouse here, possibly full of some sort of equipment being destroyed inside of Ukraine last night. You can see Ukrainian firefighters trying to put out the blaze here. So very sad to see, but more civilian infrastructure being targeted in Ukraine. Here's another one from Ukrainian Review. Zelensky Kharkiv, as of now, 64 people are known to have been injured, including 9 children. Unfortunately, 3 people died. Every new day now means new vile strikes by Russia, and almost every strike is indicative. Russia deserves increased pressure, which literally hit in ordinary life. On ordinary life, it proves that pressure is not enough, and we should not be afraid, not postpone new decisions that could complicate the situation for Russia. Without this, they will not go for real diplomacy, and this depends primarily on the United States and other world leaders. Everyone who called for an end to the killings and for diplomacy must act. Okay, more pictures that Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, had shared today. Strikes in Ukraine. We've got a high-rise building here, somebody's home that got destroyed. Here's a major fire on another high-rise building right there. Firefighters showing up on the scene to put out the blaze here. Here's another one also, and one final photo there for you guys. So yeah, lots of targets being hit inside of Ukraine again, and these are all, mainly residential homes and businesses being destroyed by the Russians. Now from Max 25, Kharkiv under massive attack by Russian UAVs. A 5-story building was hit in the Slobitsky district of the city. A fire broke out from the 3rd to the last floor in the Osno-Viansky district of Kharkiv. Several private houses were hit. A fire broke out, according to the mayor. This was a video coming out showing a high-rise building that was hit in Kharkiv last night, consistently burning. And it looks like that drone struck the upper end of this high-rise building. So very sad, guys. I'm sure a lot of people got injured in these strikes again. And just like yesterday, we had a pretty horrific attack onto Kiev and Odessa, Kharkiv. Also yesterday, I showed you guys multiple videos and pictures coming out as many drones were striking lots of cities in Ukraine yesterday. Now for more translated, the bodies of 1,212 fallen defenders have been successfully returned to Ukraine. The remains of Ukrainian soldiers were brought back from the Kursk region, Kharkiv, Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia, and Kherson regions. Eternal glory and remembrance to all the fallen heroes. Okay, so we heard about this report probably about 3 days ago or so that Ukraine and Russia were supposed to be exchanging some bodies. I think mainly the Russians were going to be giving back some fallen defenders from Ukraine. And it looks like it was postponed, but now it looks like they have been able to achieve this and get these bodies back from these soldiers. So 1,212 fallen defenders have been successfully returned back to Ukraine today. This was a picture coming out showing these teams that were returning them in some of these trucks. So good news for Ukraine, but also very sad to have to report that. Now from Bliskovka, the SSU detained an FSS agent who was preparing a new Russian strike on the Lviv region. He faces life imprisonment with confiscation of property. The traitor turned out to be a 57-year-old local unemployed man whom the Russian Federation recruited through Telegram channels. He collected data on military air bases in the western region and passed it on to his supervisor. So it looks like we had somebody on the inside over here recruited for Russia's security service and was trying to carry out some deeds for the Russian military and gather some intelligence to send over to Russia. And Ukraine's SSU was able to locate him and detain him. And apparently, there's some sort of major security situation going on today because I have another report right here that I want to show you. Bliskovka reports from June 12th to the 16th, security measures will be significantly strengthened in Lviv, according to the SSU. During their implementation, restrictions on passage and travel through the streets, document checks, and vehicle inspections are possible. The goal is to prevent sabotage and increase the safety of citizens. So I'm wondering if Russia was maybe trying to plan something out similar to what happened to you with Ukraine with this whole Operation Spiderweb, FPV drone attacks on Russian airfields, and maybe the Russians were planning to carry out something like that also because there's some sort of security situation going on in Lviv today. That'd be on the western side of Ukraine, and that's where a lot of their air bases are located at with F-16. So I'm not sure if we're going to see something happen over there, but it looks like Ukraine's SSU is on the case here trying to figure out what's going on and to protect maybe the airfields or something else that could be happening, some sort of sabotage or attack over there on the western side of Ukraine. So don't be surprised if we hear of something going on over there because it looks like the SSU is preparing for something big. Now from Visioner, good news in Sumy Oblast, Ukrainian forces have managed to retake the previously lost village of Yablonivka. Clearing operations are ongoing to remove remaining Russian forces from the area. So what we're hearing over here in the Sumy Oblast is recently, over the last week or so, the Russians have been gaining some territory in the Sumy region of Ukraine. And this report's indicating that a town has been taken back for Ukraine, and they've been able to push the Russians back in the town of Yablonivka. Okay, so that's some good news. As we've been hearing recently that the Russians have been pressing forward in this area. So at least at one part of the front line over there, Ukraine has been able to make some gains. Now from Ukrainian Review, new Russian offensive in Sumy region is not an attack on Sumy, it's an attack on Kiev, says People's Deputy Bezugla. Pay attention to the routes and distances. The front is now again 300 kilometers from Kiev. The Russians have no red lines except for nuclear weapons for now. So Ukraine's People's Deputy Bezugla is reporting that this attack in the Sumy region is actually not an attack to take Sumy, it's an attack to go after Kiev. Now, Kiev is really not that far away from where all these attacks are taking place. This is the territory. It's kind of small for you guys to see. Might be difficult for you, but the Russians are allegedly heading towards the city of Sumy right now. They've controlled some territory in the Sumy Oblast, but it's really not that far away from Kiev. If they really start to pick up their offensive, it's the shortest distance to get to Kiev compared to like the Eastern Front right now. So that's not some good news, and that's what they're reporting today, that this is an attack on Kiev, not Sumy Oblast. Okay, so now from a Visioner, good news, Ukrainian forces have advanced in the Kursk region, capturing additional 0.57 square kilometers of territory. All right, so now there's another report of another incursion starting to open up in the Kursk Oblast. Now, it's not very big. You can see here they have been able to move in about a half a kilometer or so. They've taken over some little small settlements. Yeah, we know that they're still operating over here. This is another set where they're operating at inside the Kursk region. They have not completely pulled out yet. Looks like they've been able to make some gains and move in to the Kursk region once again. And this is over near Tetkino. And we've been hearing that the Ukrainians have been trying to surround this city right now. This is where a lot of these airstrikes are being carried out. Lots of buildings being leveled over here in Tetkino in the Kursk Oblast. So just another update, Ukraine's been able to open up another front inside the Kursk Oblast. Now from Bliskovka, for the first time since the start of the full-scale war, the presidents of Serbia and Romania will visit Ukraine. Alexander Vucic will arrive on June 11th for a one-day visit and will participate in the Ukraine Southeast Europe Summit. Today, the newly elected president of Romania, Nicusar, if I'm saying his name right, Dan, will arrive in Odessa. So we're having the the leaders, the president of Romania and also Alexander Vucic of Serbia, who's also the president over there. They're going to be visiting Ukraine this week. Okay, so we'll be having these two visiting. And I think today we have this newly elected president of Romania, Nicusar Dan. He's supposed to be arriving in Odessa today for a meeting. And then also we'll be having Alexander Vucic later. Okay, so now for Max 25, NATO will consider allowing contributions to Ukraine's defense to be included in the new spending target alliance members are expected to adopt at a leaders summit later this month. According to Bloomberg, NATO will also propose working toward eliminating defense trade barriers. Here's a report from Bloomberg today. NATO seeks to include Ukraine funds and new spending target. Okay, so just over the last couple of days, I reported to you guys that NATO is actually going to be calling for an increase in defense spending across the board. I think every nation is going to be shooting for somewhere around 5%, and 3.5% of that is going to be core defense spending for their nations. And according to this information today, looks like they'll be including some of that 5% from each nation of NATO for spending in Ukraine. So that's very big news. That means that Europe's going to be back in Ukraine even more with some of this defense spending that's expected to be announced here very soon. Now for Max 25, today marks 2 weeks since Trump gave Putin the last 2 weeks. We are waiting for a new series of deadlines. So many reports coming out today that it's been 2 weeks again already. Trump has said literally over the last month or month and a half now, it seems like, Trump keeps coming out saying to reporters, yeah, give us about 2 weeks and then we'll find out if Putin's tapping us along. If he's not serious about ending this war, maybe the U.S. is going to act. Maybe we're going to sanction him. I've got a deadline in my head is what he said at one point. If it's not hit, if we don't get a ceasefire in this war by that deadline, maybe I'm going to act or something. So don't be surprised we come out hearing again very soon that there's another 2 weeks for Vladimir Putin to continue this invasion of Ukraine, because that's what we've been seeing from Trump for the last month or so, or even longer than that. Now for Max 25, Ukraine to attract almost 1.7 billion pounds from the UK for additional weapons purchases, according to Denis Shmyhal, the Prime Minister of Ukraine. These funds are planned to be used to purchase Rapid Ranger air defense systems, as well as Marlit light multi-purpose missiles. Also this month, the UK will supply drones worth 350 million pounds, approximately 100,000 UAVs, which will arrive this year. So the UK has been stepping up big lately, supplying a lot of weapons for Ukraine, and 100,000 UAVs as well. We announced that just about a week ago. I gave you guys that report that the UK is going to be handing that over to Ukraine, so that's huge. And apparently they're going to be getting help with air defense systems for the Rapid Ranger and also Marlit light multi-purpose missiles. So here's kind of a picture of this system here. So kind of cool to see that. So big news from the UK. Now from Visioner, Saki Air Base occupied Crimea. New satellite images of the air base have been released, clearly showing 12 newly built improvised concrete shelters. These structures can withstand kamikaze drone strikes, but are almost entirely vulnerable to Storm Shadow, Scalp, and Neptune-type cruise missiles. In addition to combat aircraft, at least 5 Orion reconnaissance drones have been detected at the airbase. Okay, so the Saki Air Base down in Crimea, okay, not too far away from like Sevastopol and Yevpatoria. This is like southwestern Crimea. Apparently the Russians are erecting some new structures to protect their aircraft down there. As you know, look at what happened last week with the strategic bombers being destroyed by FPV drones. They've been erecting these bunkers here, as you can see, to protect these aircraft down here that are located at the Saki airfield, as it looks like they're paranoid that maybe another attack like that's going to take place. But if Ukraine were to use some sort of missiles and fire them over here, they could definitely destroy these structures and the aircraft inside of them. And this was like an image showing some of these Orion UAVs that were spotted also. These are reconnaissance drones that the Russians use at this base. So I wouldn't be surprised we start seeing some strikes down here, maybe with missiles soon. Now from Anton Gerashenko, the SBU is striking and will continue to strike the enemy even where it considers itself unreachable. We are working to catch it off guard with new surprises, no less painful than Operation Spiderweb. Head of the Security Service of Ukraine, Vasyl Malyuk. So this is a picture of him right here. I think this is actually an AI photo, but just kind of showing these strategic bombers that were blown up, and this whole operation was led by Vasyl Malyuk and also Volodymyr Zelensky himself. So yeah, this was a statement coming out from him today as a new video was actually released. It was like a 4-minute video showing new video footage of this Operation Spider's Web and all kinds of video footage coming out from Ukraine showing that, they'll strike Russia wherever need be, even if it's deep behind enemy lines. And that was just a statement coming out from him today during that video, actually, that, they'll catch Russia off guard and strike them wherever they need to, even if it's after their strategic bombers, like what happened last week. Now, for Max 25, Zelensky will not go for mobilization from the age of 18 in exchange for sanctions against Russia, as Western partners want, according to Podolyak. So, Podolyak is a Ukrainian politician. And yeah, we had a report, I think it was yesterday, that I showed you guys that apparently Western partners are calling for Ukraine to mobilize soldiers starting at the age of 18. I think right now they had it at like 25 or something, or maybe a little bit below that. And Western partners apparently want Ukraine to mobilize starting at the age of 18. And if not, they're not going to sanction Russia. So, yeah, apparently Zelensky stating that he's not going to mobilize from the age of 18, even if that means putting heavy sanctions onto Russia. For some reason, they don't want to do that, at least not at this time. Maybe that might come at a later date. But right now, Ukraine is rejecting that, even if that means sanctions on Russia. Now for Max 25, Ukrainian air defense shot down 49 out of 85 Russian drones, including 40 UAVs shot down and 9 drones suppressed by electronic warfare, and 0 out of 1 Iskander-M ballistic missile. So we had one missile going into Ukraine last time. Not sure where that thing struck at, but it looks like they weren't able to shoot it down. But aside from that, 85 Russian drones going into Ukraine last night, and they shot down about half of them or so, a little bit over half, and much lower amount being destroyed than what we usually see. We've been seeing a lot of times 80, 90+% success rate in a lot of these drones being shot down. And something that I notice is when the Russians fire a lot less of them, more of them strike their targets inside of Ukraine versus when there's a high amount. Whenever there's a lot, like 200-300 or so, it seems like Ukraine is able to shoot down a lot more of them. So yeah, 85 going into Ukraine last night. Now for Kyiv Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of June 11th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In our final update of the day, Russia's losses as of June 11th, 1,120 troops, 15 AFVs, 124 vehicles and fuel tanks, 8 tanks, 34 artillery systems, 240 UAVs, 1 MLRS, 2 planes, 7 cruise missiles, and 2 special equipment. Okay, so if you're wondering what these 2 planes are, this is the same report we had yesterday. It said that 2 planes were destroyed, and from what we understand, the only 2 planes that were hit over the last week or so, or maybe like 3 to 4 days, I want to say, was a MiG-31K and potentially an Su-30 or maybe an Su-34, and that was at the Sava Sleka airfield. So I'm not sure what they're referring to here. Could be that same report. But aside from that, yeah, they destroyed some cruise missiles yesterday that were being fired into Ukraine. And aside from that, it's pretty much average numbers again. Not seeing big fluctuations again here with these numbers. Seems to be pretty standard from what we have been seeing, but troop numbers up a little bit higher. We've been seeing more around 900 or 1,000 recently. And vehicles and fuel tanks still right about average as well. So overall, pretty normal numbers we're seeing here being destroyed on the Russia side. And I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in for today's update on June 11th, 2025. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day today. So let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.